What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with a Monday edition of NBA Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Losing my voice a little bit, was watching the football games with some friends, and boy, oh boy, I made a profitable weekend. I made a profitable weekend happen in the NFL, which over the course of the last 2 weeks of the NFL playoffs, didn't think I could do it. Had 8 of the last 9 regular season weeks profitable in the Discord and on this video, or on the NFL video, that is. And then, well, the NFL playoffs started. Got smashed in the wild card weekend, got smashed in the divisional card weekend, but brought it back together. Kareem Hunt jammed the anytime touchdown plus 180. He gets the first touchdown. There were some people I saw that were on that as well. That made me happy. But anywho, we are on to the NBA streets. We got 12 games. I'm going to try to fly through this video because, well, I don't feel the best. But anywho, we got producer Jacob alongside. We got 50% off on promo code Lindy50. If you want to jump into that Discord, as well as at Eric Lindquist, I'm going to be posting a couple of my favorite props here the night before. Yeah, I don't feel great, but I can still type. What? I'm too sick to type? I think I can type. But anywho, producer Jacob's ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. Let's get to the picks. We start with the Lakers taking on the Charlotte Hornets in this one, and there's a lot of news in this. We've got Rui Hachimura, questionable yet again here. And if you were in the premium Discord on Saturday, of which went 2 for 3 in terms of locks. Yeah, there were 14 games. I had 3 locks that existed on that one. Went 2 for 3. The last one, Ivica Zubac lost by the hook there on 12.5 points. He put up 12. He had 8 at halftime. It was just brutal. Just absolutely brutal. But the other one that was an absolute smash was Anthony Davis over 24.5 points. He goes for like 34 plus. I think it was like 34 there, up against the Golden State Warriors. He goes from like around a 30%, 29% usage guy to around a 33% usage guy when you have Rui Hachimura off the floor. And yeah, he plays alongside LeBron James. He plays alongside a lot of guys. So you got to keep that in check. It will be something I'm paying very close attention to. But we got LaMelo off the injury report. We have Mark Williams off the injury report. He sat last game out, led to a weird start once again by Taj Gibson, the veteran, followed by Moussa Diabate, who is probably going to be your backup center no matter what here yet again. So just throwing it out there, something to pay attention to. But Josh Green, he's presumptively going to be starting still above Josh Okogie here in this one. I'm still not convinced that Charlotte's just going to roll Josh Green out every single time as opposed to Okogie they acquired there from Phoenix. Might as well just give the new toy a new spin. So here you go. Something to pay attention to. But plus 442, over 1.5 threes for Josh Green. It's going to be a lean for me for now. I got to confirm that he's in the starting unit. Plus, I don't think the numbers are going to move. I don't think many people are that interested in betting Josh Green threes. So we got to wait for the starting lineup. I just don't want to get burned by Okogie starting over him and getting fewer minutes out of Green. But otherwise, I think this would be a positive EV bet. Just wait later. Just the odds won't change that much. Now, the odds might change here. We've got ourselves Detroit taking on Cleveland. Cade Cunningham's just been playing awesome basketball. Every single time I look at my sheet updating for him, he seems to be one of the top 10 players in the league. And that's just a wild thing for Detroit to have on their roster. But Cleveland's had the best overall roster, and you're getting like ridiculous outings from Darius Garland. He puts up 36 minutes, 39 points, 9 assists, 3 boards against Houston last time out. It wasn't a losing effort, but they are 10-point favorites here at home because they get Evan Mobley back into the fray. And Evan Mobley played last game, first game back that he had in, it was just over a week that he was out. Takes on Houston, plays 29 minutes. I think we see those minutes ramped up a little bit. He goes 0 for 2 from 3, and I think most people who have watched this program, definitely in the premium Discord, know Evan Mobley's shooting like 42% from 3 on the season. So Evan Mobley, he's a sneaky 3-point assassin over the course of this year. I projected him for 32 minutes here. I think 32 is probably in the range of possibilities. And we're getting plus 162. We were getting like plus 130, plus 140 here. We did get these at like plus 180. That was like a month and a half ago before people started catching on that he was shooting and making a lot more threes. So Evan Mobley, I'm going to have a small play here on Evan Mobley over 1.5 threes, plus 162 on FanDuel. Again, plus money, kind of the name of the day here on the early window of these cards. So yeah, we've got a couple of other plays coming up later, including my lock that are plus money. Those will be fun. Next up, Houston at Boston. And Houston just been playing ridiculously good basketball. They go into Cleveland, win by 4. And it's all about Amen Thompson. The guy's playing like 40, 42 minutes. Is he a top 50 player in the NBA? I would say he is so far. I can't believe that that's already the case for the sophomore who was playing really behind Jabari Smith and, Jalen Green. I would be happy if I were Houston to move Jalen Green at the deadline. I know that might be a hot take to some, but like if somebody's looking for a scorer, go inherit anything else because this team is predicated on defense. Dillon Brooks, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason off the bench, and Amen Thompson, not off the bench right now, starting and should be for the foreseeable future because he's been awesome. And in fact, I can't believe I'm doing this because I'm looking at my sheet here. We've only targeted Boston 3 times this season. We are 2-1 targeting Boston, 1 loss. It was not a pretty one. Don't even want to talk about it. But we got ourselves Houston, and I'm going to back them here at plus 6.5. Yeah, it's minus 115, a little bit more vig than I'd want to lay here. So maybe the public ends up pushing that up because Boston, they tend to take money. It's like, oh, well, can't believe Boston's only favored by 6.5 against Houston. But such a misnomer now here because, well, in terms of defensive rating, adjusted offensive rating, like everything that Houston is bringing to the table as well, is healthy outside of that Jabari Smith piece. Now, Boston, you can always get those weird scratches that come from absolutely nowhere. We know what I'm talking about. Like Boston sat so many guys last second, and Derek White is questionable with a right shin contusion. But he ended up knocking down a bunch of shots in that third quarter against Dallas. Looked as though he was coming back. In Boston, they got to be happy to coming home after a long road trip. But Houston plus 6.5. They've been out there on the East Coast, just chilling, just hanging. Really competitive spot. Won that game against Cleveland. Think this one is competitive inside of the number against Boston. So we go like. Yeah, we got another like here. Sacramento minus 10 taking on Brooklyn. And wouldn't you know it, Ben Simmons, questionable on the injury report. And this is kind of a biggie because D'Angelo Russell, I don't even know if Ben Simmons is in, if he ends up getting the start over D'Angelo Russell because, well, it seems as though Brooklyn's going to start making some advantageous plays. And maybe this is just a quick second stint here for D'Angelo Russell because I've heard his name in some trade conversations. But he's been high up in the usage department the last couple. 17 and 13 shot attempts. They lost to the Knicks and to Miami, but those are the Knicks and Miami. They do not bring a lot of pace to the table. Sacramento, they bring pace to the table, and they also bring Keon Ellis, which is not great for D'Angelo Russell, but should get the ball out of his hands a little bit more. We've seen 10 and 6 assists the last two, and we have a 6.5 assist number for D'Angelo Russell. If you get Ben Simmons out, especially, I just don't want them to share the floor together very much because D'Angelo Russell, almost like a 42% assist rate here without Ben Simmons in his second Brooklyn Nets stint. So overall, D'Angelo Russell over 6.5, I think is very advantageous. I already played it. I would play this to 7.5 minus 105. So it is currently at minus 125 on DK, 6.5. I think that's a really, really good spot to be investing. Again, D'Angelo Russell, those assists in a competitive spot, which this is obviously not projected to be, but overall, I think he can even get there in 3 quarters, and Ben Simmons sitting would be extra, extra nice. Orlando minus 1 taking on Miami, and Producer Jacob. Producer Jacob's the absolute best. Let me run this one back. I have a spread on the card. Houston, plus 6.5, but this is going to be a lean like purely because I really want to get involved in it, but we got Franz Wagner. Guy puts up like 27 points in the fourth quarter alone last time out. That was an absolute evisceration, and it's good to have him back here in the Orlando uniform. You got Paolo Banchero back as well. This team is almost back to its full strength, and I'm really excited to see Orlando that way, but we have Jalen Suggs questionable, Goga Bitadze questionable. Hard for me to pull the trigger on it as of right now. I'm going to make it a lean like here because I know a lot of you are watching me. Hey, Eric, I know all your props. I can only play spreads, or I only want to play spreads. I can only play totals. I only want to play totals. I get it. Orlando minus 1. I don't have it on the card as of yet, which is why it's a lean like. But if you were looking for my second favorite spread on the entire day, it's Orlando here, but I want confirmation on Suggs and Bitadze. Try to react to the line then. And next up, we have Memphis getting 4 points. Memphis getting 4 points is a little bit rare, taking on the Knicks. If you watch this program in recent weeks, I've had some leaks in my game, if you will, but Memphis, they've been unsustainable. They can't keep getting away with it. Shooting over like 40% from 3 in every single game, shooting over 54% from the field in every single one of these games, even without John Morant in some spots. I can't deal with it. Luke Kennard was making everything. Triple J was making everything. Jalen Wells, I can't deal with this Memphis team. They are just trolling me at this point. It is absurd. Well, we do have Josh Hart questionable on the Knicks side of things. And the Knicks, obviously he defensively would be a lot better than anything they're replacing him with, whether that's Landry Shamet, Campaign could slide in there. Miles McBride as well. They could move OG Anunoby down to the 3. They could also move up Precious Achiuwa to the 4. They could do things like that and just make it a weird configuration. But no matter what, I disagree with these totals. I'm just losing my mind because I can't watch a Memphis game again where they just continue to put up that last one without John Morant. Again, I got 6 points of closing line value, and they go over the total by like 20 points. I'm losing my mind watching them, so I'm just going to make it a lean. By now, I don't agree with these pace metrics. I have this closer to 237, but I'm only making it a lean because I can't do this with my life anymore. Under 242.5 until I figure out what's going on with these situations. Because individually, Luke Kennard shouldn't shoot 60% with John Morant off the floor. You individually shouldn't have Jaren Jackson Jr. avoiding foul trouble every single time out and putting up like 55% shooting every single game. So under 242.5, also Desmond Bane, like 14 assists with Ja off the floor. What are we actually doing here? Ja's expected in, though. We're just going to bypass this game. Use code Lindy50, friends. Head to the video description box below. You head there. Well, you can sign up for my Discord. That is $10 for your first week, $25 for your first month. Would love you see you there. Would love to have you along there in the premium Discord because, well, the NFL, it is winding down here. We got one more week, Super Bowl week. It was nice to get off the schneid once again there in the NFL streets for the conference championships. Thank you, Kareem Hunt. Not many people have said that in their lives, but we do have MLB coming up very, very shortly. And these NBA streets, well, been pretty darn good year in, year out. Pretty darn good over the course of the entire sample size of this season. Let's keep it rocking. Let's keep it rolling. Even Saturday where we had 3 locks, went 2 for 3 there. Had a decent overall day. Should have been even better. Had 2 awful hooks. Awful hooks. One on the Zubats lock. One on the under of Moses Moody that I can't even talk about how awful that was to lose that one. But anyway, Lindy50, come sweat it. Come kick it with us in the premium Discord. Back to the picks we go. Halfway point of the program. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell as we break down my favorite play of the entire day. We got the Pelicans taking on the Toronto Raptors. And on the Pelican side of things, there's always seems like there's news there. DeJounte Murray questionable yet again with a right shoulder strain. And Jakob Poeltl questionable with back stiffness here for the Toronto Raptors. I almost said Blue Jays. It's almost baseball season. Agbaji and Kelly Olynyk also questionable. We could be looking at like minutes for Orlando Robinson in addition to Chris Boucher. Jonathan Mogbo, they'll probably try to get him back from the G League here to play some 5 against the Pelicans here. But Zion Williamson is active for this one. He's been playing right around 24, 26 minutes a game here going forward. I don't see that changing until we get to the deadline. There are rumblings that teams are looking at him. I don't really believe it. I don't think there are a lot of teams that are going to give up the draft capital that the Pelicans are looking for to acquire a Zion Williamson, but I have him projected for 26 minutes. He kind of dwarfs everything that you're looking at here on the Pelican side of things. But let's jump over to the Toronto Raptors, where I think there's a little bit of a problem with this number. We're getting plus 120 on Scotty Barnes over 6.5 assists. And I said there's a lot of plus money numbers that I really, really like here on the course of this season. Now, Emmanuel Quickley is going to be out for this one yet again, and that is a big, big deal when it comes to projecting out assist numbers for the one, for the only, Scotty Barnes. He's been doing everything for this basketball team, right around like a 26-27% usage, right around a 13-14% total rebound percentage, and then there's a chance of Olynyk getting off the floor. But when you take Emmanuel Quickley off the floor this season, you have RJ Barrett sitting right around a 25-26% assist rate. But that's a little bit of a misnomer once again, because Dennis Schroeder was there once upon a time. 28.7% assist rate going back to 2023. And you go to just these numbers over the course of this season for 2024, and we are looking right around a 30% assist rate here for Scotty Barnes going forward. Yeah, 30% assist rate is not going to project out for anything less than 7.5 assists over the course of like a 37-minute sample. They're also favored by 2, so it's expected to be close, all in Toronto's favor. I don't see how we don't jam over 6.5 assists for Scotty Barnes here. So we just do. Click the button. Over 6.5 assists, Scotty Barnes, plus 120 at Bet365. Damn good find. I'll sock it to you one more time. Get a oh. Actually, I hope those odds don't get lower. That would be bad. Plus 120 is really good. Denver at Chicago. Oh boy. 7.5 here, taking on the Chicago Bulls. And the Bulls, there's always injury news that we have to deal with there until today. Everybody's off the injury report. And if you watch my program before, both of these teams, when they're perfectly healthy, books can really project the numbers. They're better at it than us. They're going to be way better than we are. We get to pick the advantageous spots where we think that they're incorrect here or there. But with everybody healthy on Denver, everybody healthy on Chicago, what do you want me to do? It's about as efficient of a line, efficient of a spread as possible. I will say this. You had some very interesting comments from Billy Donovan about Patrick Williams. Yeah, he's trying really hard. It's not going well. That's literally a quote from Billy Donovan about Patrick Williams. We're going to look at the under of 9.5 points, but I think he still starts. The only reason I'd try to take an under now is the hope that he doesn't start and that they just try to do something different in the formulation of this. Jalen Smith is now shooting threes. Also, if you're watching the backup five there alongside Vooch, there's a world where they should play him at the 4, but I don't think that world's against Denver, so we're just going to pass. Atlanta at Minnesota. I kind of got this one confused for a second because I thought, well, they might be playing Denver, whatever. It was in the back of my mind that Denver and Minnesota just played. In Minnesota, Anthony Edwards was that dude, ran him out of the gym. It made me so happy to watch Ant go back to his normal self, take over a basketball game. And Rudy Gobert, the best game of his season against Jokic, not even remotely close. In the course of those minutes for Jokic, he was beyond a -20. You never see that from Nikola Jokic. So, shout out Gobert. But now he's going to take on Onyeka Okongwu, who is not your normal center here. He can go out to the perimeter a little bit more. I would say he's not a better shooter, not a better anything than Nikola Jokic. But overall, really good center. And Atlanta, without Jalen Johnson, is going to have to do a lot of interesting stuff with their lineups. Now, Zachary Risachet is questionable. Dominic Barlow, questionable. Daquan Plowden, questionable. Larry Nance, who started last game, questionable. DeAndre Hunter, questionable. And Mohamed Gaye, also questionable. Keaton Wallace, who I actually expect to start. Trae Young's already out. I mean, this is a wild kind of number that we're looking at, but the reason that this one is in check is Onyeka Okongwu. So you got to be paying attention to this news. I thought I would end up jamming Minnesota, but Trae Young, I'm not going to say he's like a neutral player, but we know how bad he is defensively. Onyeka Okongwu over 22.5 P plus R. That is points plus rebounds. I'm thinking about betting it. Haven't bet it yet. Washington at Dallas, 11.5 point dogs against the dismantled Dallas squad, because of course they are. Washington is so freaking bad, but Kyrie is there, Daniel Gafford's there, and Daniel Gafford has been a cash cow for us in the premium Discord over the course of the last week and a half. Thank God I've needed it. But Gafford, the last time out, 22.5 points plus rebounds. It's up to 25.5 this time around here at -120, which is just an insane difference from what we just got a game ago going up against the Boston Celtics. I don't quite understand how we go from that to that, but hey, at least Daniel Gafford went out and put up an absolute nuke. 19-15 against Boston, was the best player on the Dallas side of the floor pretty much all game. Came out defensively, did a lot of really good things. And now Maxi Kleba going to be out with a broken foot for the next however long. That's definitely a change for them. Broken right foot is the exact thing. We have a right ankle stress fracture with Derek Lively. Get ready to see a lot of Daniel Gafford in your life the next couple of weeks. And in fact, I don't agree that -135 against Washington that can't rebound. They can with Jonas Valanciunas and Kyle Kuzma on the floor, but they're going to start Alexander Sarr out there yet again. He's just been brutal. And Kyle Kuzma, not really trying to go out and rebound here, getting ready for the trade deadline. Woo, get me out of Washington. That's what he's saying. I don't know what I was just singing. But Daniel Gafford, I'm going to be singing his praises yet again. Daniel Gafford, double-double, -135 on FanDuel. I think it was -130 at Bet365 last time I looked. I wish I had bet it there instead. But you know what? You get the odds that you got. And I was happy to be laying -135 when I think it should be -145. Milwaukee at Utah. I really don't want to talk a ton about this one because there's so many question marks on the Utah side. John Collins questionable, Walker Kessler questionable, Jordan Clarkson questionable. As for Milwaukee, Chris Middleton questionable for rest. Can NBA teams just get away with whatever they want on the injury report at any given point in time? They obviously are looking at moving Chris Middleton for anything else. They will give up Chris Middleton for a bag of potato chips at this point. Maybe they're looking for Frito-Lays and they're only being offered Cruller Ranch nacho. No. Doritos nacho cheese. No. If there was no. Doritos, Cool Ranch. That's the go. Who would even be looking at Durant? No. Doesn't matter. Keep going. Utah +9. Next game. Don't really want to talk about it. And the last one on our card is kind of a thin play. Los Angeles taking on Phoenix here. They're laying a point here. There's also a couple of books that switched this around and made it a +1. Obviously, it's through the key number. It's just through, I mean, really doesn't matter all that much. It's like 10 cents difference between the +1, -1, depending on where you're looking. I don't have a lot of interest in this. I have this being a pretty competitive spot, but Nick Richards' rebounds have been out of control. Nearly a 22% rebound rate here over the course of Phoenix Suns' tenure. Ridiculous how much he's out there. And Kevin Durant not trying to rebound. Devin Booker not trying to rebound. Nick Richards would appear that he's pretty darn good at it here. And he's at 9.5 rebounds coming off of a couple of insane numbers. Now, the reason I'm not running to the window on this one as well is look at Washington and Brooklyn, who he's gone for crazy rebound totals against, 19 and 15. Played 34 minutes against Washington. Brought that up again a second ago. When you don't have Jonas Valanciunas and Kyle Kuzma on the floor, they have not been very good at rebounding, and those are very limited windows, like a 10, 12-minute window a game where they've been sharing the floor. And then Nick Richards, also 22 minutes against Brooklyn, 15 rebounds in that one. He just sits underneath the hoop. It is wild to watch some of these Phoenix games with him in the rotation here, but it's at 9.5, -115. I want a little bit better than that before I start diving in here. Nick Richards, yeah, -120 over on FanDuel now, currently best available. I had a feeling it was going to get steamed up, so I'm going to be paying close attention to that one, but otherwise, pretty efficient game overall, especially these opening spreads. And that does it for a nice tight edition of a 12-game NBA Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button down below. Go to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this one. Thank you again to everybody who tailed NFL Lindy's. You believed in me. We finally got across the week. The winning week. It was great. Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks, but otherwise it is all NBA all the time until the MLB season starts. Thank you, producer Jacob. Good stuff as always. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Monday.